Welcome. I'm Sandra Funk, and this is Design Sips. Today, I'm going to grab a glass of wine. Cheers to you. And we're going to talk a bit about the business of interior design. Hey, everybody, what's going on? How's it going? All right, so I am having a Chardonnay, a late summer Chardonnay, California. So you can see it is making me happy. I don't know. Cheers to you all, first of all. Thank you so much for being here. So good to see you. Yeah, a glass of wine is not unnecessary in today's world. We have a ton of orders that we are placing and following up on and putting through, and frankly, dealing with all of the fun that comes with placing orders right now in the world. So everyone just breathe with me. This reminds me of my very favorite, I don't know what that is, a little video clip of the Grinch when he's doing yoga and they're like, just release all the tension and let it out. And he like screeches to no end. Maybe I'll be able to share that to my story. I will try to find that and share it. It is really one of my favorite things on the planet. But that's kind of how procurement in interior design feels right now. Like a little bit like that silent scream, but not so silent, right? I see you, and I know that you are feeling me on that. You have the same problems. It's good to know that we're all here together, right? That we're in this together, that we're facing the same issues. And the beauty of what we talk about here at Design Sips always is that, you know, we can share our tips and we can be stronger together. So if you figured out a way to get through all this, you let me know. I would love to hear from you. Where are you? Tell me your location. It's so fun for us to hear, how we're spread out across the world and the country. And if you are having a drink, what that is. Now, I know we have our time zones are all over the place. So sometimes that's a coffee, sometimes you're in your watering phase, and sometimes you're having a glass with me. So let me know. I would love to hear. All right, so today, what we're gonna really talk about is how your mindset can hold you back from success. Now, I only ever talk about things that I feel like I've been there, done that, had the lesson, learned the lesson, and maybe I'm still learning the lesson. And we all know you can get so bogged down when the negativity starts hitting you up, right? So when things aren't going right and, your favorite item that everyone was in love with gets discontinued, or, we waited too long to place the orders and now there's price increases all over again, whatever it is, getting mentally bogged down, getting stuck in a negativity rut doesn't help anyone, okay? So, and I only know this all from having done it. And it happens over and over again. So we're just gonna have an open conversation about all of this, which is gonna be awesome, okay? So we're gonna cover how to put fear aside and take the leap, right? Into positivity, into confidence, into just flippin' doing it, okay? How mindset affects the way we price our services. Whoa, this one is huge. I know you know that, right? I know that deep down you know that your fear or your imposter syndrome or your negativity or your I'm not there yet-ness is affecting how you're pricing your services. If you're a creative person and you have to put a price on you, that's really, really, really hard to do. We hear it all the time, and I know it from experience. So we'll talk that through. How to turn negative thoughts into positive action. I love this, love this, love this. So I practiced this today. Okay, negativity hitting me hard, right? Issues with orders, industry gone wild, things going on. And I took that just like that bummer of again. I get you, like you can only take so many price increases or issues or whatever with orders before you're like, ugh, like just slump in it. And then I always, I know that there's a lesson there, right? There's a reason why I'm getting the same flippin' lesson over and over again. It's because I'm supposed to iterate. I'm supposed to change something. I'm supposed to refine something. I'm supposed to make something better, more clear, more organized, more streamlined, more process generated. You know how I think, right? So I'm like, okay, where do we need to sharpen this pencil? Where do I need to go with that, right? And refine. And it's crazy. Little things like order issues and big things like dark night of the soul, might close the business, I'm all done with this, are the very things that have brought us to that business that 9 days out of 10 is flow, right? It's flow. I'm like, I get to do design. I get to make these homes beautiful. I get to work with this incredible team. That is in flow. That's when it's all working. And when you start to hit like the, like it just won't flow, that is for me a call to action, a call to change, a call to refine. So it is so crazy important to switch your mindset from nothing works for me, I'm cursed, it just won't work, this isn't happening, I'm not good at this, I can't, I won't, I'm not going to growth opportunity, to action, to, okay, let's start a conversation with the people involved, the players in the game, about what's breaking down here. Where do we need another thing? Where do we need another double check? Where, how, when, right? And as you guys know, my like crazy dark night of the soul was when I was like still back in the charging hourly days, and I got crazy bogged down from that. Like I just kept hitting the same wall, sending these huge invoices because I billed, every 2 weeks at a high hourly rate, 10 years into my business in the New York City area. And I just kept hitting the exact same wall, just super bogged down, super exhausted, just heavy. And it's not always, okay, let me iterate, let me figure it out. It's not always tiny, right? That one was my big, like, I'm not signing another client. I'm hiring a lawyer, a strategist, a mindset coach. Like I brought all the players in the game together and really tanked my entire business model top to bottom. Now that is like whole hog restructuring, but there was no other way. And I'm not saying I was like having a bad day. I was like ready to shut the business down and just say, okay, I can't play interior design. Like I don't do that well. It's not working for me, right? I can't get it to work. I can't get it to feel good or feel like it's in flow. So that's all mindset. That is all back to mindset. It was all, and literally like shifting how I think about it, shifting how I approach things, right? Charging no less, maybe more than what I was charging back in the hourly days, shifting how I present it, shifting when, right? Shifting how I talk about it. It's just all looking at it differently, and that's mindset, right? Good stuff. Let's drink, shall we? Does anyone else need a cocktail? Is it just me every week? All right, so we have lots of interesting questions on this topic, so very good. Before we dive in, I have a little question, a little story I want to tell you, and it came up when I was getting ready this afternoon to see you all, and it's a very good reminder of mindset shift. So I was having trouble. It's that same story for me because I was slamming my head against the same wall until that lesson fit in. But I was standing on the platform, getting on the train to go see a very difficult client in New York City. I was living in New Jersey at the time. And I had just found out between the client phone call that said, get your butt in here, we need to talk. Between that phone call and this train platform, I found out I was pregnant with my first child. So I'm on the train and I've got, 35, 40 minutes of like quiet alone time to just watch the marshlands of New Jersey go by, right, as I go into the city. And I am sitting with how I felt about going into the city and sitting in front of this big honcho lawyer client to talk about my fees before I found out I was pregnant, and how I felt about going into the city to talk to this big head honcho lawyer client about my fees after I found out I was pregnant. And it's interesting because it was so poignant to me. I had this massive personal paradigm shift, right? I went from some young girl trying to get my career going, someone who maybe wasn't super confident, who was still proving myself, right? To someone who is going to be a mother, who has very, very big priorities, huge internal priorities above this one appointment in my life, right? This mindset shift. And I'm not saying it made this client appointment less important. I just was looking at it like so differently. Like, I'm going to come there and I'm going to explain myself, and you are going to take me or you are going to leave me, because I felt something shift, right? So what I'm getting at is, whatever it is for you, when I booked that appointment to when I got to that appointment, I had totally shifted my perspective. Now, I had just found out I was pregnant. I didn't tell them that. Obviously, none of their business. I don't even think I told anyone besides my husband that, right? But in me, it was like a line had to be drawn in the sand. Like, I have more important things to do than to be your rag doll that you're going to just shake and wiggle and throw all over the place, right? It's that line in the sand of non-negotiable. Like, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go down. And if that's not cool with you, then we're going to part ways. That's cool. Like, no skin off my back. But if you're on board, then we're going to do this. And that is you don't have to wait for something to happen for that moment to change, right? For me, that was like a big moment of like, I got to take care of myself. I can't be losing sleep over this crap. I cannot be running around like a nut with my head cut off, 24/7 worry. Like, I have to sleep through the night, and I need to, do my things. And it forced me to draw a line in the sand that was so, so important. And I can tell you right now, you don't need to wait for your degree, your master's, someone to tell you you're amazing at interior design. You don't need to wait for someone to offer you more money than you're charging now. You don't need to, there's no point out in space or time that you need to wait for to draw that line in the sand. You can decide today, this is what works for me. This is what makes me comfortable, happy, successful, profitable, joyful. You can decide that right now, today. There's no, I'll charge more when, or I won't let people push me around when, or I'm in a rush. Why? We just had this big team conversation today. We owe our clients incredible design. Like, bring the good stuff. We owe them top-notch, incredible quality. We owe them first-rate, 100% communication. We do not owe them speed, okay? It is not part of our value proposition. There are people out there who do quick design. I'm going to do a quick turnaround, design in 90 days, design on a dime, blah, 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 blah. It's not part of my story, right? Fast design was never part of my story. My story is do it once, do it right, high quality, something you can pass down, things that look better with age so that you're not redoing this in 5 years. Know your story, and then don't compete on all that other crap, right? Stand in your space. It's a good line. It works right here. Decide what you are, what your value proposition is, where you stand on, right? What are the qualities that your business is based on? And then stay focused. Stay focused on those. All right. We do have questions. I am not just going to ramble this entire time. And we have wine we have to drink. Cheers to that, people. The wine is good and much needed. All right. So Amber asks, I feel like I'm always waiting for the right time when it comes to my business. The right time to hire, the right time to scale. I have a hard time taking risks, and it prevents me from moving forward. Any advice? Absolutely. So one of the big things, Amber, that we just talked about is, well, I can tell you this for sure. There isn't a right time, okay? By the time you're so busy and your pipeline is so full that you're ready to hire that next person, you're too busy to stop and hire someone. And you're certainly too busy to stop and train them. But if you don't, just move forward, right? If you know that you need to hire someone, you just hire. Just start. Just put the job description together. You don't have to do it all in one day, just start, right? Because it's one step at a time, and you certainly have time to fit 15 minutes in a day, stay a little late, wake up a little early, squeeze it in on lunch hour, whatever it is, to get that job description together day 1, to post it day 2, to screen some inquiries day 3, right? Just take it tiny little steps one at a time and keep moving forward. The very definition of entrepreneur, right, is someone who A, is in business for themselves, and B, takes risks. It is in the DNA of someone who is in their own business. If you don't like risks and you want to know exactly how every day is going to unfold for the next 30 years, totally awesome. Go and submit a job for Amber, like Amber's hiring, okay? Go find a job where can I guarantee you know what's going to happen for the next 30 years? No. But go find a job where you have a job description and you have set hours and you know what you're going to get paid. That is a job for someone who does not like risks, okay? An entrepreneur is someone who doesn't know what's coming, doesn't know when the next job is going to be signed, doesn't know if that pipeline is going to shift and shimmy. There's someone who doesn't quite know exactly what they're going to get paid, right? You are a risk taker by nature. You have to be. It's got to be in your DNA if you're going to own your own business. And also keep in mind, if that's not in your DNA, it is totally fine. You could be the freaking rock star employee, the C-level employee, the partner, the top-notch person at an incredible firm. If you don't have the stomach for the risk, then you should get into a situation that better sits with you so that you can blossom and be your best self, right? Obviously. But yes, all of those things about the right time, timing is everything and timing is totally nothing, right? Timing is everything, right? But at the same time, it's never going to be the right time. I'm a big Marie Forleo fan, and one of my favorite things that she always says is start before you're ready. Like, you might never be ready, but if you know it's time to raise rates, if you know it's time to hire, if you know it's time to get office space, go ahead and get started. And you don't have to sign the lease on day 1. Start your research. Block a little time. Start your list of things you're going to do. Block them out in your asanas over the next couple weeks. Block them out in your calendar, however you do. Set yourself up for success, because you can get stuck here in worry and waiting and not the right time, but it's the mindset, progress, right? Action will start to move that ball forward. It's so, so, so important. And I love it. I just saw Sarah comment, daily courage. This is from a rant from many, many moons ago, that being a business owner, being an entrepreneur is not just risky or courage, right? Risk, courage. There's no courage without risk, right? There's no courage without fear, that whole thing. So it takes daily courage. So it's not just when you decide to start your own business. It's not just when you sign a lease. It's not just when you hire that first employee. It's every day showing up, not quite knowing what's on your plate that day, right? Knowing that you're going to have to respond to clients, to your team, to your landlord, like all the things, right? Daily courage. You just have to keep showing up, and it feels so good when you do. Okay, so Carrie asks, can we chat about mindset around pricing? Yes. I think my own money issues influence how I price my projects. It is so true. Okay, so here's the deal. Number 1, when it comes to pricing in interior design, you have to be really careful that you don't let your own money thoughts, your own money situation influence your pricing. So it's one of those things where I joke, and I think it might still be true, that I can't afford my own design services, right? That's often the case, that your services are a luxury, right? You are bringing your art and your beauty and the alchemy of interior design, the way that you have that incredible eye, the way that you see how things flow together, your project management skills, your trades and vendors, your Rolodex, all the contacts that you've built up over time. You're bringing this incredibly multifaceted, kind of hard to get your arms around uniqueness to every project. And there's a lot of value in what you bring into people's homes. You really do. You change their lives when you make their home reflect them and feel truly complete, something that they're proud of. It's a really, really big deal, but it's a luxury, right? Any client could go to a store and buy a sofa. They could make their home functional, right? It's obviously something that a person can do. You are being hired as a total luxury indulgence. They don't just want a sofa. They want a home that reflects who they are. They want a carefully considered, beautifully put together piece of art that they get to live in, right? We're talking life-changing interior design. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I've heard it a million times from clients and from you who have clients whose lives you've changed. So when you're pricing your services, you cannot go back and equate it to, could you afford it? Or what are you paying for services out in your world, right? So I used to think, oh my gosh, my hourly rate is more than insert, expert that I hire here, that my architect hourly rate is this, or my lawyer's hourly rate is that, or my hairdresser's hourly rate is this, right? You can do this all day long. I can sit there and compare myself to anyone on the planet who charges by the hour. You know how I feel about that? Don't charge by the hour. You know why? You're worth like 1,000 times more than the time it spends you to do something. Did you hear what I just said? You not only have the vision, but you also have the project management skills. And then you layer in all of your context vendors' trades. You layer in the fact that you go to national conferences all the time, or you're going to, and you learn about quality and construction and all the different vendors and all the different trades. There's so much more to interior design than picking out a pretty sofa, right? So number one, you need to know that and you need to feel that, because this one's about mindset. Number two, you have got to educate your clients about that. You have to educate your clients about what you bring to the table, because if you just tell them that you make beautiful interiors, they might not see that you are their gateway to an industry, to the trade only $1 million square feet of display space at High Point alone of product that is primarily only available to the industry, right? So that's interior designers, builders, boutiques, right? Showrooms, stores, things like that. So you are their gateway. You've also, I know you have vetted and you have picked out the good painter, the good wallpaper, the good mill worker, the good carpet installer. I mean, I could go on for a year. Like, you are either getting that list of amazing, incredible people together, or you are learning who not to work with, which is also a lesson. We talked about that. See all those epic fails as lessons. Like, the list of who you're not going to work with is just as important and a tough one, because you have to go through a project with them to learn it, but it is just as valuable as the list of who you are going to work with again. That is one of the harder lessons, because how long projects can go on for, but man, oh man, that's a very, very, very valuable lesson to have learned, right? Anyone who's done any renovations knows that. So, okay, take yourself out separate from the money issues. If you can afford it, if you can't afford it, I don't want to hear you comparing your hourly rate to somebody else. I want you to put together the value proposition of what you bring to the table, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. I bring quality. I bring carefully considered design. I bring incredible communication. I don't have anything about being quick in my value proposition. It's just not part of my story. So again, know who you are and what you deliver, communicate that, educate your client about that, and then stand in your space. And it's one of these things that is so hard, and I rally against it all the time. When I don't sign a client, I will come back and I'll say, we went in for the bid and we were too expensive. And my husband always says, well, that means you're priced right. And I'm like, because I'm all in my head about it. And he's like, if you signed every single client, then you're not charging enough. Like, he's like, Sandra, you have to, as long as you're signing clients and you have full pipeline and you're not like sitting around, twiddling your thumbs, then you're priced right. It's not going to be for everyone. If you're signing clients, but not all clients, then you might have found your sweet spot. So keep that in mind. That's a tough one to kind of digest, but I literally know that it is true. I know it is true because I've been doing it for years now. Putting myself in a price point of luxury, putting myself in a price point that makes me excited to take the next job, thrilled in fact, right? Putting myself in a price point that allows me to give excellent customer service, give these clients my full attention, right? There's a huge benefit to having yourself priced properly that you actually get to turn around and be an incredible interior designer. Like if something's not quite right in the design, you can spend the extra time because you have it priced right to get it right, to do a little bit more research, to go to one more store, one more design center and nail down that amazing, incredible jumping off point fabric, right? Because you've priced yourself right, you can communicate every single week all the details that they need to know what's updated. You can have the weekly in-person meeting. You have given yourself the space to be amazing. Why would you not do that? Right? Why give yourself the ability to be the very best designer that you could possibly be? Give yourself the space and time to curate real art. Give yourself the space and time in your investment amount that you discuss with your client to put in all the accessories, all the art, right? It's on you. You're the expert that they're hiring. So it is so, so, so incredibly important to see that you've been tapped as the expert. They really want you to step into the role of explaining how it's going to work. They want to hear from you. This is how much a room should typically cost in my level of design, based on your space. This is how long a project is typically going to cost. This is how often we'll be meeting. Here's the structure around how many edits you are included in our program. They want you to be the expert. They want you to lead them, right? They want you to educate them where they maybe haven't done this before. And if they have done it before and they're coming to you, then you need to educate them on how you do it. And if they're coming back to you because they're a repeat client, then bravo, you have raving fans, you have done it, you have brought them that incredible design that they so deserve, right? So awesome. Okay, last question. We've been glitchy and special today, but we're gonna work it out. I'm gonna one more cheers you before I go in because I get going. Nicole asks, when something goes wrong, I get major imposter syndrome and I feel like I'm not the greatest designer. What do you do when you get these types of thoughts? Well, the imposter syndrome, the like, oh my gosh, we're a hot mess. I don't have anything right. Everything's going wrong. Like, yeah, those thoughts come in every time something goes wrong, right? Every time we hit a glitch, which is all the time because this is a detailed and there's so much going on with the design project, right? I say this all the time. I can't be an expert at all things electrical, all things plumbing, all things paint, all things millwork, all things kitchen appliances, all things stone. You see where I'm going with this, right? I know things about things, but I don't know all the things. So I can't be an expert in every one of those. I have a high level of general knowledge of a lot of things because we've been around the block. We've seen a lot of things, right? But stuff goes wrong. I specified sconces once for an exterior wall in a New York City apartment. And I can't remember who, client, contractor, somebody wanted to say, well, you should have known. And I'm thinking, seriously, there is a contractor on this job. There is a general contractor licensed, right? Who had a request for quote that had the sconces on the outside wall. Yes, I should now. You learn a lesson, and I also don't ceiling mount anything in New York City either. Hello, concrete ceilings. But you have to find that out somehow. And how do you find that out? You find that out because you put sconces on the outside wall and they can't go on the outside wall. It's concrete or brick. And you can't mount ceiling, you can't mount window treatments to the ceiling in most New York City apartments because they're concrete. But you don't know that until you know that. And dearly beloved, please, whatever happens, talk to your vendors and trades, talk to your experts around you. But really, at the end of the day, and I even had this conversation with my team today, the worst thing you could do when a glitch happens, a mistake happens, an error happens, or even just following a totally clear process that just could use one more double check. No one's fault, right? The worst thing that could happen is that you get in your head about it and you tell yourself any story around that, right? I'm not good enough. I didn't do it right. I didn't double check enough. I don't know, get 4,000, written double checks in place. The worst thing you can do is start to tell yourself a story about it. The best thing you can do is say, okay, yeah, I should have asked for backup documentation or something, right? I should have whatever, put that one more phone call in to just double check something, whatever it is, own it and then use it. Like that's the biggest thing. And it's one of those things that like the standard, our business template for designers is all about. It's about 20 years of being in design and taking every time we learned a hard lesson and using it and using it and using it and using it. So not just getting the lesson and forgetting it, but getting the lesson and going back in and refining a process. Getting the lesson and iterating and tweaking and making it just a little bit more tight, right? And then better days ahead because you're highly unlikely to trip on the same stone again when you're going down the road. So that's the idea behind it, is that we've tripped on a lot of stones and we don't want you to necessarily have to go down the same path. So that is the big gig. This is what is happening. This is Design Tips, so we should cheers because we finished the last question, right? Cheers. I needed this drink, so we're gonna drink it. Okay, so y'all know, as I just told you, the standard is my iterated and tweaked little processes from all these little lessons we learn. And we are opening enrollment again September 15th. So I want you to come and join me. So if you're already a member, I cannot wait to give you the latest updates and all the new things that are happening. If you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? The time is now. Start before you're ready, right? So we have an example module of the standard. So it's basically a wonderful example of kind of what's in store for you inside. It's called How to Sign Your Next Dream Client, and it is 100% free. You can check that out right now at interiordesignstandard.com. In this training, the How to Sign Your Next Dream Client, my dog says hi. You get my exact potential client presentation, my closing the sale tactics that you can implement immediately, and an inside look at my scalable and profitable design process. So all of that free for you. It's at interiordesignstandard.com, and I would love it if you would go check it out. And again, we are so excited. We're gearing up for launch. We are launching September 15th, so you need to jump on our wait list to make sure that your spot is reserved in the standard. Again, interiordesignstandard.com. Okay, I will see you back here next week because I will need a drink again. It's inevitable. I'll see y'all. Have a wonderful day. And remember, it's all starting up here. Just the time is now and start before you're ready.